Can solving riddles in fictional scenarios to find cryptic messages actually help you learn cybersecurity? From the outside in, capture the flag competitions look a little ridiculous, with a bunch of people staring at terminals, decoding weird strings, poking at broken web apps, and celebrating when they find weird flags that say, something clever. It almost feels like an elaborate scavenger hunt for nerds. So it's a fair question to ask, is this just a game, or is this going to teach you real-world skills? So over the next 8 minutes, I'm going to dive into some of the core concepts that help me change my perspective on CTFs. If you've ever been intimidated by a capture the flag event, this video is for you. Let's start off by explaining what exactly a CTF is. At its core, a CTF is a structured problem-solving environment. You are given a scenario, typically a vulnerable system, a binary file, a packet capture, or some piece of data. Hidden somewhere in this challenge is the flag. The flag is just a structured string that proves that you have gone through and you've completed said challenge. You get the points for the flags, and then the points put you on a leaderboard as you're competing with others. Now, the value is not so much the flag itself, but rather the process you've gone through to get said flag. Now, before we get too deep into this video, we're going to try something different this season. Down in the comments below, leave your most insightful impact from this video for your chance to win an awesome prize. Now let's get back to it. So most CTFs fall into one of two formats. The first one we're going to be digging into is going to be the Jeopardy style, and it's probably the most common in our space. Now what these are is it's basically a group of individual tasks that are focused on a specific security category. Think things like if you want to dig into PCAPs, you're going to be digging into a forensic style CTF challenge. If you're going to be digging into things like compiled programs, you're going to want to dig into a reverse engineer CTF challenge. What makes this format powerful is it exposes you to very focused technical concepts. A web challenge might force you to understand how input validation fails, or a crypto challenge might make you truly grasp different types of encodings for encryption. Over time, these concepts feel a little less abstract in nature and start to feel a little bit more practical as you work through these challenges. Now, if you want to dig into some of these concepts a little bit further, you want to check out the videos down below in the Learn with Hack the Box playlist, where we cover some of the blue and red team concepts. Now, the second format is known as like an attack but defend, or a cyber range, or a live fire. But more or less what we're looking at here is instead of like a isolated challenges like the riddle style, CTF, you're actually looking at like live systems. You're actually graded on uptime or finding exploits and taking advantage of them. Now, this is really cool because this kind of simulates more of like a real world environment, but it's also the scarier of the two. Folks will see this type of a challenge, they'll see the terminology, they'll see the overall scope of this, and they're just immediately turned off. They think that their competitors are just miles ahead, and that's not always the case. A lot of times when we go into these challenges, they are more difficult compared to the Jeopardy style. You don't see them as often, but this is where you start to see real growth. By going in there and getting your feet wet to begin with, it really shows that you have the chops, the willingness to learn, and this is the best way to do it. This is the best environment to learn, because if you're doing it in the real world, it may not be so forgiving. This brings me to the most important part, the thing I want you to take away from this video, which is CTFs, they compress experience. In the real world, especially with the blue team side of the house, we can sometimes experience great gaps of time in between events. A phishing, attempt this week, a authentication pattern in the next month, and then, a malware sample from an APT way far into the future. The point is we're taking all this experience exposure that we'd experience in the real world that would take, months, even a year, and compressing it down to like 4 hours. So as an example, in a CTF, you may experience like 5 different variations of the same type of attack in a single day. You may experience different flows of authentication. You may experience things like activity that's indicative of C2, command and control activity. The point is we're pushing out reps at the speed that is just unrealistic in a real world scenario. You're basically getting the experience so you can now develop pattern recognition. So when I competed in competition like Splunk's Boss of the Sock or CISA's President's Cup, it became very clear very quickly that it's not about memorizing commands. It's about being able to effectively filter through the noise. It's able to find pattern recognition, as well as working as a group under time pressure, time constraints. But these are the same things we're going to see in a SOC or DFIR environment. These are real skills. But one thing that we typically tend to underestimate more than anything is teamwork. So in my opinion, these CTF opportunities are not like a hero moment. We're not trying to, have one person shine while everyone else is just watching them tear into these boxes. The best teams that I've seen are more diverse in nature, where some person might have reverse engineering experience. Another person might be good at OSINT. Another person's good at just programming in general. There was one instance where we were digging into a Rust challenge, and I just got my butt kicked. I did not know Rust very well. Fortunately, someone on our team was, and they're able to help out tremendously. But honestly, this is where we start to see more of the fun anyways. If I see something that's in our environment and it looks off to me, I could bounce it off someone in our Discord, and they're able to jump back with their perspective, maybe associate it to a technique, and make it just a million times better. Now, if you don't have a semi-consistent team to do capture the flag events with, this is where community is extremely important. The Hack the Box Discord is filled with folks who are constantly trying to develop crews, get the groups together for these certain types of events. Now, you don't have to be this elite Hagzor, something like that, to participate in these events. And in fact, it's actually way better to work with folks who are a little bit ahead of you in skill. You can kind of absorb their information. It's the fastest way to grow and kind of get an idea of how other folks' methodology works. This is bar none the biggest unlock when it comes to capture the flags. And if you're in an academic setting, bringing CTFs into the classroom is a total game changer. It takes the conceptual ideas of something and turns it into hands-on practical experience. Instead of learning about SQL injections, you're exploiting them. Instead of doing log analysis, you're hunting through actual artifacts. So where should you go from here? Now, if you want to experience some of these structured competitions, you want to head over to ctf.hackthebox.com and sign up for a profile. Even if you're not trying to dominate the scoreboards, you can actually go through, look at some of the previous write-ups, get some experience in the actual capture the flag space, as well as just, meet some good people. But if you want to strengthen your fundamentals first, you want to go to app.hackthebox.com, where you can dig into some of these machines, kind of poke around, use it like your training grounds. Anything from like web exploitation, reverse engineering, forensics, what have you. There's just plenty of things for you to dig into. I myself personally recommend the Sherlocks, but your miles may vary. So to answer the question of can CTFs teach you cybersecurity? Now, it's not going to replace real world experience. However, it is going to train those mental muscles that are used in the real world. Things like problem solving, collaboration, technical skill, and most importantly, pattern recognition in all of the chaos. And yes, sometimes we are just solving riddles for fake flags, but if we take some level of intentionality, those riddles are going to be the fastest way that we level up our skills in cybersecurity. So thank you so much for watching. If you do like this new series of Learn with Hack the Box, where we do practical hands-on things and break it down real light, let us know down below, like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.